Is a historic winter storm about to hit? Weather update American cities number 151. Get ready for a wild ride because a massive winter shift is about to unleash two dangerous storms. This is all powered by a giant Arctic blast that is heading our way over the next few days right now. The first storm is going to take shape as that freezing air pushes south. It will bump into a new disturbance, spreading a blanket of snow across the Midwest and eventually moving into the Northeast. Watch out for the gusty winds coming in on the backside of this thing. We are likely to see plenty of blowing snow, especially in those spots where the snowfall starts to get really heavy and fast. But honestly, the second winter storm is the one you really need to watch. It has so much potential to cause chaos. As that Arctic air expands south, a much stronger low-pressure system will develop. This second system has the chance to rapidly intensify as it tracks toward the east. If everything lines up just right, we could be looking at a classic nor'easter scenario for millions of people. We are talking about heavy snowfall, high winds, and some pretty significant impacts all along the East Coast. It is the kind of setup that could bring everything to a standstill very, very quickly. On the warmer side of this monster storm, things are also looking quite rough. Severe weather is expected to return to the southeast, where damaging winds and even a few tornadoes are quite possible. In today's deep dive, I am going to break down exactly what you need to know about these two distinct winter storms. They are going to have a massive impact across the entire United States very soon. We have a whole lot to discuss, and I want to start with the potential for this big winter storm over the next few days. It could affect tens of millions of people, so let us look at today's map. We actually have an ongoing winter storm right now. This system has already dumped a massive amount of snow across Iowa and Nebraska. People there are definitely feeling the bite of this new season. In many spots, the snowfall has actually overperformed. We are seeing heavy snow still falling this morning in eastern Iowa and across most of Wisconsin, stretching back into Michigan's peninsula. Across the board, the totals are higher than we thought. Many areas are seeing 8 to 12 inches in Iowa. We were only expecting maybe 4 to 8. So this has been a very significant winter event. This is the very same storm system that brought a severe weather outbreak yesterday to the Ohio Valley. It was a scary situation where we ended up seeing a few strong and dangerous tornadoes occur. It was a crazy event to track in real time. There were moments yesterday where we were approaching double-digit tornado warnings at once. It felt like the atmosphere was completely spiraling out. On top of all that, we almost saw a large dangerous tornado head directly into Bloomington, Indiana. Yesterday was just absolutely wild, and it kept everyone on the edge of their seats all day long. Fortunately, today is going to be almost exclusively about the snow. We will also see a little bit of rain along the East Coast. The good news is that we do not have any severe weather on tap today. The bad news is that we still have a dangerous winter storm ongoing. That is going to continue through this evening, especially for folks living across the northern parts of the Michigan region. We are also watching central and northern parts of New England. Heavy snow is going to lead to several inches of fresh accumulation this evening, making travel very difficult for anyone on the road. Now, keep in mind that this is not even the main event yet. I know we have one storm going, but that big nor'easter and the major East Coast potential are definitely still on the table for later. What we are expecting late Friday and into early Saturday is a continuation of that moderate to heavy snowfall. It will blanket most of the Northeast as the system slowly grinds its way forward. Once we hit Saturday morning, the current storm system finally starts to weaken. However, this little blob of moisture coming over the Rockies right now is already making its move toward the coast. That moisture will track across the Tennessee Valley on Saturday. We are not talking about a ton of snowfall with this specific piece, but if you are in St. Louis or Kansas City, keep your eyes open. Do not be surprised if you see some stray snowflakes dancing around during the day on Saturday. It might not be a total whiteout, but it is a sign of the colder air taking over the entire region. There will also be a risk of severe weather down along the Gulf Coast and in the southeast. We are looking at a marginal threat for maybe an isolated tornado or two in the coming weekend forecast. Areas like Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama need to watch for a damaging wind risk. I will give you more details on that in a bit, but just know the atmosphere is staying very active down south. What happens next is that the remnants of our current winter storm will linger around the Great Lakes. We will have moisture surging from the Gulf and more energy coming over the high Rocky peaks. Eventually, once we get into Sunday, we are expecting a massive storm system to develop. This is the big one. It should begin Sunday morning as a coastal storm starts forming off of North Carolina. The current thinking is that this system could become a bomb cyclone. That means the atmospheric pressure would drop about 24 millibars in just 24 hours. It is a sign of rapid, intense fueling. It is going to be a very borderline bomb cyclone, though. It might not intensify quite as violently as the other two we saw earlier this winter, but it is still going to be a powerhouse regardless. By late Sunday morning, we anticipate a large band of snowfall developing across the Great Lakes. The Mid-Atlantic is also in the crosshairs, with a very definitive area of heavy snow forming up. We are watching Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and back into New Jersey and Delaware. This could easily be one of the biggest winter storms we have seen in these specific areas all year long. In fact, this might be the most significant snow event these regions have seen in quite some time. The low-pressure system will continue to intensify offshore before it really revs up Sunday night. Notice how we will have a massive area of moderate to heavy snow falling across parts of New York and West Virginia. The heaviest stuff will likely be centered right around the Maryland coastline. Southern New England will also be dealing with some light snowfall during this period. Then, as we move into the overnight hours between Sunday and Monday, a large band of coastal snow develops. This heavy snow band will stretch all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, down toward Washington, D.C. It is going to be a very messy commute for a lot of people as the new work week begins on Monday. By early Monday morning, the heaviest snowfall will stay parked over Cape Cod, New Jersey, and back through Delaware. Maryland is still right in the thick of it during this high-intensity period. Finally, by Monday afternoon, the storm system will begin to move away from the coastline. The only snow left over will be tucked away in the mountains or falling as lake effect near Lake Erie. Eastern New England will likely see the snow continue for a bit longer. This storm could easily dump over a foot of snow in a very widespread area if the conditions stay exactly as they are now. I want to talk about exactly how much snow could fall. There are a few different scenarios we are tracking, and we also need to look at what is coming next week for the rest of the country too. More snow is definitely on the way as that Arctic blast settles in. But before we get into the accumulation maps, let's talk about how the weather pattern is shifting our daily lives and routines. When things get this busy, it is so easy to stop paying attention to your surroundings. I know that firsthand from covering active weather events. You have to stay fueled and ready for anything. Whether you are digging out your driveway or just trying to stay warm, having a plan is key. Now, let's get back into the nitty-gritty of these weather scenarios and what the models are telling us. There is a possibility that this nor'easter might not be quite as intense as some models suggest. The GFS model shows over a day of heavy snow, but other data suggests a slightly different path. The European model, for instance, has the coastal storm developing early Sunday but shows less widespread heavy snow. It looks like a more detached area of moisture on the northern side of things. Unless this low-pressure system tracks far enough to the north and west, it might only produce lighter snowfall. That is a big if that we are watching very closely as the weekend fast approaches. If that happens, the snowfall would not be nearly as heavy as the headlines suggest. We would still see a period of heavy snow late Sunday night in southern New England, but it might be shorter. However, I have to point out that many models have been shifting their tracks further west and north lately. It is not just one outlier showing this. Several are starting to agree with the GFS. We are seeing a trend where a major winter storm is appearing more likely than unlikely. Our confidence is growing that something significant is going to happen even if the totals shift around. Things could still flip the other way tomorrow, so you have to stay tuned. Weather is unpredictable like that. But right now, the momentum is building for a very snowy start to the coming week. Now this is where things get really interesting. How much snow are we actually going to see? I have 3 different scenarios to show you, starting with what I call the most likely middle ground. In this scenario, I think we are looking at a widespread 4 to 8 inches of snow for most of the Northeast. I do not think many areas will be left out of that range if the storm stays on its track. Washington, D.C. will likely get near half a foot. Areas back toward Connecticut should also see several inches. Some of the northern snow you see is actually from the storm happening right now. But along the coastline and into New Jersey or just outside D.C., a 4 to 8 inch range is looking very realistic. It is not a 100% lock yet, but it is the most probable outcome as of this moment. Now, if you want to see something crazy, look at the GFS model. This is the deterministic run, and it is showing a major, almost historic winter storm for the last 5 or even 10 years or so. We haven't seen anything like this in a long time. It shows a widespread 1 to 2 feet of snow across Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. That would be an absolute blockbuster event. Some locations could even see 24 to 30 inches of snow, according to that specific data. While it is possible, I would say it is not the most likely outcome yet because the setup is so sensitive. I would be very surprised if we actually hit those 2-foot totals across the board. I just don't think the atmospheric setup is going to support that much snow for that long in the northeast area. Then we have the low-end scenario from the European model. It shows a large area of snow, but it is mostly light precipitation. We are talking maybe 3 to 6 inches with just a few isolated higher spots. You can see there is still a ton of uncertainty here. The differences between the major weather models are quite large when it comes to total accumulation. It is a classic battle of the algorithms.